With so many people just getting started with RVing, it's a good time to look at how to pick a campsite. The choice of a campsite has the potential of adding or subtracting stress from your overall camping experience. So it's important to learn how to do this well. Hey everybody, this is John Marucci. I made the jump to traveling with my R-Pod back in 2016 and have never looked back. I've had my share of problems along the way, and this channel attempts to be what I wish I had when I started out. So let's go ahead and jump in. There are a few questions to consider up front. First, how close do you want to be to other campers? This will determine what sites you want to pick or avoid. Second, how long do you plan to stay in one place? This makes a difference, as you'll be willing to endure closer quarters to other campers if you know you'll only be there for a short time. Third, do you plan to use the campground bathhouses? This will determine where in the campground you may want to stay in order to reduce the walk to the bathhouse. The answer to these questions will influence your expectations. For example, if you happen to be more extroverted, you may be fine with being closer to your camping neighbors. On the other hand, maybe you aren't so extroverted, and being close to neighbors will cause you stress and keep you up later than you'd like. So understanding your temperament, expectations, and preferences are important when determining your ideal campsite. So let's assume that your picture of an ideal campsite is quiet and away from people, but you'd like electrical service at your campsite. So how do you pick this type of campsite at a state park, for example? Let's look at a few campgrounds and find out. So here we have Yankee Springs State Recreational Area between Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids, Michigan. This is a nice place to stop over when traveling north or south through Michigan. This is a classic example of what I consider a parking lot campground. As you can see, there are some very nice, highly sought after perimeter water sites and a few other non-water perimeter sites. Yet most sites are infield sites lined up back to back and can be very crowded, especially on weekends. So here are some considerations. First, if you don't want neighbors directly behind you, get a perimeter site, but watch for footpaths, watering areas, and trailheads. Lots 58 and 70, for example, are prime water sites, but notice the red dotted lines. These are paths to the water that anyone can use and will be on your campsite side. This likely means you will have regular traffic when you're sitting out at your campsite. Again, this may be fine with you or not, depending on your temperament and expectations. Second, be aware that if you do choose an infield site, you may have your neighbor's smoke and soot covering your trailer or screen room. We had this happen on lot 146 when the folks on lot 57 really didn't know how to build a fire. Third, also be aware of paths to bathhouses. You may be in the non-marked footpath site. We had this happen when staying on lot 171, thinking we wanted something close to the bathhouse. Unfortunately, it was the preferred cut-through site of everyone on the lake side of our campsite. The entire trip, we had dozens of passerbys each day while trying to work. Lesson learned. Next, understand that the infield sites are excellent should you wish to get together with several other RVers and create a small block of sites. Many people do this, and it is a great way to go should you have friends or family all with RVs that want to go camping together. For example, you could book sites 121 through 125 on one street and 155 through 159 on the next street and have a 6-site block for a large family gathering RV meetup. Next, let's look at Fort Custer State Recreational Area west of Battle Creek, Michigan. This is a good stop if you're looking for something between Detroit and Chicago, just a few miles off Interstate 94. Notice the different campground layout with 2 donut structures. This means no campsite will be back to back. In essence, what this layout does is create an all-perimeter sites and much more privacy. Look at the paths to the bathhouses. While possibly more distance to the bathhouse, generally the layout means less cutting through sites. What you don't see from the map is that many of the sites also have decent berms between sites, making them very private. The negative of this type of structure is that it isn't ideal for large gatherings or meetups, where combining sites together is essential. Next, let's look at Lake Louisa State Park near Clermont, Florida. It is a bit more complicated in terms of having 3 loops and some pull-through sites, and some sites that are back-to-back to some degree. This also illustrates the need for more information than a simple map can provide, as some of these sites have full hookups, and some look like back-to-back sites, but have considerable berms. There are also boardwalks to lakes and trailheads that this simple map doesn't show. You may need to click into the site detail to get more information. Here you can see much more detail about the site and look at a few pictures. This allows us to see that the site does have full hookups and that there's a decent amount of space between sites and it has a private backyard. It is also important to do other research as required. Sites like Campendium.com, TripAdvisor, and Google Reviews can really help here. Other social media sites can also come in handy by finding others who have stayed there and can make recommendations. Colt Creek State Park near Lakeland, Florida, for example, has a Friends of Colt Creek State Park Facebook page. Obviously, there are many other ways to camp, from boondocking with no one around to some private campgrounds where you'll be very close to your neighbors. Generally, it's a good idea to understand your camping style and desires in a campground when choosing a specific site. Feel free to leave your tips for choosing the best campsite in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please click the like button. We'd love to have you join the On the Road team by subscribing to the channel. If you want to dive deeper, we put more content and photos on Instagram and Twitter at John Marucci. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. This is John Marucci, and so long for now.